All pets, whether a cat or dog, are a person's best friend. Almost 64% of Americans own a pet, and 40% actually let their pets sleep in bed with them. But unfortunately, only 20 to 30% of Americans adopt their pets from an animal shelter. There are up to 12 million pets brought into animal shelters each year, and 9.6 million of these animals are euthanized. If only we could adopt pets from animal shelters, then the number could decrease. There are many kinds of dogs and cats out on the streets that eventually make it into an animal shelter. Because of so many pets in these shelters, they have to euthanize them over time if they are not adopted. There are many great pets in animal shelters, and there are many benefits to adopting them. All across the United States, up to 12 million animals are put into animal shelters each year. In the United States, there are about 5,000 shelters across the country. There are many reasons for why animals are brought into the shelters each year. Many times, it's because the owners bring their own pets to the shelter. They underestimate the care it takes to be a dog owner. They realize that it is either too big of a responsibility or they don't have the right type of environment for a pet. Other reasons are that the animals had an abusive owner and are brought into the authorities, or brought in by the authorities, or even brought in because the owner had passed away. One main reason that pets are brought into animal shelters is that they are living on the streets. There are a countless number of animals living on the streets in the United States. There are many reasons for why pets are in animal shelters, but there are also many reasons why people choose not to adopt these pets. Usually, when people think of dogs or cats in an animal shelter, they think of mutts and dirty old pets, but that is not the case. People usually think that most of these pets were abused by the previous owner and now have behavioral issues. They think that the pets are now scarred from the previous experiences and won't be able to behave like a normal pet. Although some of these pets do come from an abusive owner, it does not mean that they will lash out or act bad. It just means they need more love and care. Another reason they are not being adopted is because people also think the pets are too old, unhealthy, or hard to train. This is also not the case. Because these pets are in animal shelters, it only means that they have more up-to-date shot records and are kept healthy because of the environment which they are living in. And not all the pets are old. Most of the times, the animals brought in are puppies or kittens because the owner cannot take care of the newborn litters. Some of the dogs that are brought into the shelter are trained for the most part, which makes it easier for the next owner. Since so many of these pets aren't being adopted from, there comes many problems. One major problem is that up to 9.6 million of these animals are euthanized each year. Because these animals are not being adopted, over time people at the animal shelters have to euthanize these pets to make room for more animals. 60% of dogs in shelters are euthanized each year, and 70% of shelter cats are also euthanized. Another problem that comes from animals not being adopted is that there becomes an overpopulation of animals in shelters and in the streets. If pets aren't being adopted, then there becomes an overpopulation of animals in shelters that will eventually be euthanized. And also, since there can't be too many animals in shelters, there becomes an overpopulation of animals on the streets. The main solution to this problem is to adopt pets from shelters the next time you purchase a pet because of many great benefits that come from it. One big reason why you should adopt is that you'll save a life. Dogs and cats are beautiful creatures, and you don't want to add to the many that are euthanized each year. Not only will a pet not be euthanized, but now there is also more room for another animal to take its place. Another reason to adopt is that it saves money. It is much cheaper to adopt than purchasing a pet from an overpriced breeder. Also, these pets are healthier because they have more up-to-date vaccines. They live in healthier conditions than some breeders. There are also many different types of animals to choose from. There are even purebreds in shelters that have been left there by the previous owners. So what can you do to help? The next time you think about getting a new pet, you should highly consider adopting. There are many benefits to adopting pets from shelters. In shelters, there are also different types of wonderful cats and dogs that can be adopted. If they are not adopted, it could only lead to overpopulation of animals in the streets and shelters, and over time they will soon be euthanized.